is so that when people come in, you automatically have in your head, oh, I don't like dry wine. I don't like sweet wine. I don't like Chardonnays. They're too buttery. They're too oaky, right? So when people come in, I'm like, no. Just taste them all. Taste them all because you never know. You may say you like sweet wine, but why do you like sweet wine? You really don't know, right? It's true. Just, you may find, oh, I like mangoes. Okay, but you can find the mango flavor in a dry wine. You know what I'm saying? It's just, so when people come in, of course, all the research, I continue to research. You're always a student in this industry, right? Like myself and people that have been in it over 40 plus years. I always research to make sure that I can give myself all the knowledge to then share it with other people. So when you come in, even my staff, we're always giving fun tips, fun like, oh, did you know this, this about the wine or whatever, so that we can all just kind of come together and say, okay, I didn't, and I get this all the time, I didn't like Chardonnays, but I like your Chardonnay, or I wasn't a dry wine lover, but I like yours. And it's like, if I could just get you to come in, remove what you think you like, what you don't like, and you just sit down and taste, you'll realize that you may actually like some dries or some sweets if you were coming in, vice versa. So,
yo, plug me in. Plug me in to the STEM Plug podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the STEM Plug podcast. And here on the STEM Plug podcast, we plug you in with amazing STEM professionals as well as, entrepreneurs that are doing some cool things in the STEM field. And today is no different. Today we're going to talk about one of my, favorite subjects, wine, right? We're going to talk about the science of wine. And today we have Lashonda, the CEO and owner of Melanated Wine. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing very, very well. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to talk all things melanated and wine.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. I've been to Melanated Wine a few times, the different events that you had, and really had a lot of fun and really liked about how you really engaged with the community and everything. So that's amazing. So let's start off, right? Melanated Wine. Give me kind of the backstory of how did this all come together? You're the first Black winery in the area, and you're doing a lot of trailblazing things. So how did this all even come together?
Yeah, it's not. I'm going to tell you what it's not, and then I'll tell you what it is. Because a lot of people like to hear, this very, touching story about, oh, this has been a lifelong dream of mine, and so on and so forth. And that's not the case for me. It really isn't. My background is clinical research, right? I was in that field for a while, for about 11 years or so, since being in Carolina. So wine isn't my background. What really is in me, in my blood, is just being an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur. It's in my blood. My family has had a business over 30 plus years, back where I'm from. And just seeing that and knowing that I can always be on the other side of the table, creating opportunities as opposed to, taking on, the other side. So the wine part came. I love drinking wine. I love it, just like you said, you enjoy. I love drinking wine, but I'm a deep thinker, so it always takes me down a rabbit hole. I'm researching, figuring things out, but really just trying to figure out what do I want to do in this industry, right? I noticed in this industry, as I was drinking wine, shopping for it, really couldn't find anything that I connected with, right? In the stores, in the wine stores, and so on and so forth. And really trying to figure out, okay, it seems like there are thousands of wines out here. I'm a very personable person. I want to pick up the bottle. I want to be able to know your story just by reading the bottle. And I don't get that from anything. I don't feel connected to anything. So I realized that there's a huge void in this space, in the wine industry. And I felt the need to try to fill that void, right? I felt the need to say, okay, well, why is it so few of us in this industry, right? It's less than 1% women, less than 1% Black women. Trying to figure out what's really going on. As I continue to go down that rabbit hole, it opened up an array of like, this is what's going on. This is how you could possibly feel it. But what I realized shortly after was I don't have millions and millions of dollars to own a vineyard, purchase all this land, and to do all of this stuff. So it took me even deeper to figure out how can I come into this industry. And I came across this term, urban winery. Yeah, which that's a whole nother, like, it's cool though, right? You get to have your own wines. You get to create all of this without owning a vineyard, right? You get to do everything. You just don't have to own hundreds and hundreds of acres and grow your own grapes. I'm not a farmer. I don't want that. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
okay.
a short story to the long.
Yeah, I feel you. So okay, let's plug in the melanated wine, right? Tell us about the different types of wines, that melanated wine has, and what makes them unique.
Yeah. Oh man. So we have 7 different varietals now. When we first came out, we had just 4, but now we have 7. Our kids have grown. They're my babies, right? But we have like something for everyone's palate. I'm talking dry, sweet, off dry, semi-sweet, whatever you want, we have it. So we have about 2 dries, 2 off dry semi-sweets, and then the rest are sweet wines. So we have a red blend, it's a Cab Franc Syrah, Asian, a bourbon oak barrel. We have a white blend, that's an unoaked Chardonnay. That's your dry one. We have a Riesling, that's off dry semi-sweet. We have a white sangria. The sweet wine lovers love that one, along with the blackberry.
I like
the sweet wine lovers love the blackberry. We just introduced our last 2 a couple months ago, which is a muscadine. Muscadines, being here in North Carolina, we had so many North Carolinians, so many people coming in saying, hey, we want muscadine. We want muscadine. I'm not a muscadine person, but I can't just only come out with wines that I like. But also just hearing the stories about how their parents and grandparents grew muscadine grapes and made wine. It really tugged on my heart. So I was like, okay, let's come out with a muscadine and see what we can do. Our take on a muscadine, and we named it Legacy because of all those stories. We felt that name was very fitting. So we came out with that one, and then we have a sweet Chamberson, which is called Radiance. So
wow.
yeah, we have quite a few wines.
Yeah,
and when you come and do a tasting, you taste all the wine, all 7. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So let's plug in a little bit more, right, of the tasting of the wine, right? Can you explain to me like the role of, the fermentation process and how that really contributes to the final, tasting of the wine?
You know what? I can explain like my part in that, right? Okay. So the fun part about this is the fact that I'm not a scientist, right? I'm not the scientist.
Yeah.
So I'm considered a wine negociant. And with that, So with that, I basically hired a winemaker. We sit down. We have these blending sessions. So I call him the mad scientist behind the wine, right? So we sit down and I'm like, okay, this is what I want my wine to taste like. These are the characteristics I want it to take on. These are the, this is the profile, so on and so forth. And then we have these blending sessions, and of course, it's not complete until it's complete, until I feel like, okay, this is exactly what I want. This is what I want to take to my people. This is what I want to bring into the industry. So we sit down and we have those blending sessions. I leave all the science part, all that scientific to him, as long as he knows exactly what I want, what I'm looking for, and I can taste it, and we can, keep kind of tweaking. And if I want it sweeter or drier or, whatever, we can do that. That's the piece that I kind of control the front end of it, and he takes care of the back end of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense.
And that's also the fun part about what I do, because I don't have to own a vineyard. I don't have to worry about the science part of it. Did a lot of schooling. I didn't want to, go back and try to figure out the rest of it.
I feel you. Yeah, I mean, but it seems like even though you're not like, I guess like you said, the mad scientist, right? You still have that knowledge, that basic knowledge of it that you kind of need. So you're able to take that, and then you can give it to the mad scientist that can go mad in the lab, right, and kind of get it all together and stuff. So that's cool. Yeah. So I know you mentioned about I guess tastings and different stuff like that. How do you educate consumers about like different types of wine and the factors that come with each? Like I know some might have a higher like alcohol level and stuff like that. how do you educate your consumers?
You know, that part is very important. And part of the reason why we created the tasting room is so that when people come in, you know, you automatically have in your head, oh, I don't like dry wine. I don't like sweet wine. I don't like Chardonnays. They're too buttery. They're too oaky, right? So when people come in, I'm like, no. Just taste them all. Taste them all, because you never know. You may say you like sweet wine, but why do you like sweet wine? You really don't know, right? It's
true.
just, you may find, oh, I like mangoes. Okay, but you can find the mango flavor in a dry one. You know what I'm saying? It's just, so when people come in, of course, all the research, I continue to research. You're always a student in this industry, right? Like myself and people that have been in it over 40 plus years. I always research to make sure that I can give myself all the knowledge to then share it with other people. So when you come in, even my staff, we're always giving fun tips, you know, fun like, oh, did you know this, you know, this about the wine or whatever, so that we can all just kind of come together and say, okay, I didn't, and I get this all the time, I didn't like Chardonnays, but I like your Chardonnay, you know, or I wasn't a dry wine lover, but I like yours. And it's like, if I could just get you to come in, remove what you think you like, what you don't like, and you just sit down and taste, you'll realize that you may actually like some dries or some sweets if you were coming in, vice versa. So the educational component about, we don't go into like the wine making as much as what you're tasting, so that way when you go out to wherever, a restaurant, or, you know, you're shopping at a store, you'll know kind of how to order or what you're looking for, instead of just saying, oh, I want something sweet. You know, you can kind of say, oh, I want something, you know, that's an off-dry semi-sweet that has a profile with some, you know, some pears, some you know what I'm saying? Give it a little bit more specific.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess the question I have, I know you say you're you're not directly growing it, but do you know about any, I guess, is there like any climate or geography that on like grape growth for like certain areas that certain wines grow in or anything? Do you know about?
I can tell you this: North Carolina grows some really, really good stuff.
Okay.
Like, listen, we personally stick within like the Yadkin Valley.
Oh, okay.
So we purchase grapes from all over, right? And not just like one area. But we make sure that we don't go outside the state, because we're trying, just like everybody else in the state of North Carolina, we're trying to make sure that we put North Carolina on the map and let people know it's not all about California, right? We grow really good stuff here.
Okay.
So I can say that it's, you know, if you visit a lot of the vineyards and wineries up in the Yadkin and so on and so forth, that, you know, it's some really good stuff growing here.
Yeah.
We have some really good.
Nah, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, I guess one of the things I really liked about your you know, your business, Melanated Wine, I think I came to maybe 2 or 3 events, and you always had like, you know, local, you know, artists or different things kind of going on, and that was really cool. So how would you say you use Melanated Wine to, you know, really as a platform to celebrate Black culture? How do you do that?
That's also the fun part. Everything is so fun about Melanated Wine. It's exhausting. Don't get it, you know, twisted.
I feel
but
you.
It's fun to be able to provide opportunities to people and platforms, and you know, to people that make them feel comfortable, and they're reaching their target audience, and, you know, so on and so forth. So we're always, when we do our brunches and the caterers we work with, right? Sometimes we're working with caterers that are just trying to come out and they're new. And sometimes we work with more experienced ones, but they're still reaching a certain clientele that they may not have reached before coming to Melanated Wine. When it comes to the singers, the performers, we just had an art and cheese and wine show the other week, I think like last weekend.
Oh, man,
and these were all like local artists, right?
Yeah.
Some of them maybe have a little bit more exposure than others, but that's what Melanated Wine is all about. Like, we're a winery. We're a winery. It happens to be, I am a Black woman, happy about it, and I'm providing opportunities, but it really is for everybody to come in, feel this culture, see what we have to offer, feel comfortable. The moment you walk through that door, you know that you belong. So I love being able to create those opportunities, because opportunities were created for us, and still, you know, we'll get certain people that has a way bigger platform than us that'll bring Melanated Wine in and say, look, I want to expose you to this. So I think that's awesome. People do it for us, and we'll continue to do it for other people. Yeah,
that's true. I know we kind of touched on it a little earlier, but you were talking about, just educating before we even started the podcast about like, just educating people on the wine field and stuff like that. So do you have any advice for anyone that may be looking at this podcast and like, wow, like I've seen Melanated Wine for a while. I think I want to maybe go into the wine industry. Do you have any advice for any aspiring winemakers?
We've gotten so many phone calls, and I'm like, oh, I'm still figuring it out. But I would just say do your research. Because this industry is so many ways that you can come into this industry. It's not just the way that I'm doing it. We have a ton of other wineries or wine brands, right, that may not be looking to have a physical location but want just the brand and an online and e-commerce presence. So I would first do my research, definitely, to figure out how you have to or how you want to what impact do you want to bring into this industry. And then how can you do that best? Is that having a physical presence or an online presence? And just really trying to figure that out, because once you figure that out, then the hard work really begins, because trying to get approval and licensing and all of that on a federal, a state, and a local level is no walk in the park. So I would say, most of the people that I know that has come into this industry, it's not just like any other business where it's just, you're taking a chance. Well, you are taking a chance, but you're not just coming into it and you may be done next year. It's a lot of work. So if you're committed, if you're coming into this industry, you're committed and you're in it. It's so top heavy. I would tell people, don't think that you can start in this industry with nothing. You can't. And that's so it's unfortunate to some degree, but just know it's a commitment, and you're going to be in it for a long time before you see anything come from it. Wow. On a lucrative level.
Yeah.
But for me, when people come into Melanated Wine and they enjoy the process of what we've created, and it puts smiles on their faces, like that does it for me, all the time. So, but my best advice would be do your research and really try to figure out, how you want to impact this industry.
Yeah, no, I feel you that impact makes it all worth it. What would you say has been like maybe one of the challengingest thing for you? Like, you like, wow, this right here. Like, I don't know about this one.
Because we are in the alcohol industry, there are so many opportunities out here for small business or minority businesses, women-owned businesses, or whatever, across like all platforms. There are so many opportunities. But when you're messing with alcohol, those opportunities are less and less and less and less. So I would say that's also someone definitely has to, need to take into consideration when coming into this industry, where, there have been like grants or certain things that we've applied for, like, oh my God, we fit the mode. And then it's like, oh, but you're alcohol, you can't, apply for this. So that's the most challenging thing, I would say, is being able to have support from, not necessarily like the government, but like, all these other like resources are limited when you are messing with alcohol and, any of those things. So.
Yeah, no, that's true. But, you like you said, you're making that impact, and you getting through it, and now you have a story to tell to inspire others. So
we're
that's
trying.
That's
we're
dope.
Trying.
How do you envision the future of Melanated Wine and its impact on the wine industry?
Okay, the future of Melanated Wine. So we love the intimate feel of our tasting room, and for those that have been there know that it's a very intimate tasting room, and you come and you feel welcomed, you feel like you belong, you feel like you could just sit there, vibe out all day. We definitely want to plant more tasting rooms, right, around the triad and beyond. But for the big grand thing is having that interactive winery. And I tell people this all the time, so you can't steal it. No one can steal it. It's okay. But this big interactive winery, think about like the Build-A-Bear workshop, right? But for wine.
Oh, wow.
Right? So you come in and you choose, I want to make a wine today. It's my anniversary. It's your birthday. Okay, I'm going to select the label. I'm going to select the wine bottle. I'm going to select everything. Like literally the entire process you will be able to do and you now have this, this thing that you created at Melanated Wine that's going to be a part of you, your household, your celebratory event, whatever. But that's something we really want, is to have an interactive winery, because we're so community focused, and we want you all to be involved in what we have as much as you want to be involved. So we're really looking for that space. It'll be a big space. Where you can come in and you can do that, and we'll have the the bistro and everything. So it's coming.
Wow.
It's coming.
So people are going to actually. So with this wine, would they be able to like name the wine too?
Yeah, they can name their wine, whatever label you want, whatever bottle you want. It is your wine completely.
Wow.
Not for resale.
Yeah.
You can come in and have that.
Yeah.
That novelty for your celebratory event. But yeah,
Wow.
all of that. You can do it all.
Wow. That's amazing.
Coming soon.
Yeah. Okay. So where can our our listeners and everything plug in with you about Melanated Wine? Where we're shooting from North Carolina, but where can everyone kind of plug in if they want to get some Melanated Wine or come to any of your events?
Oh my! Our social media tells it all. So on all platforms, we are at Melanated Wine, MelanatedWine, and then our website, melanatedwine.com. And so mainly our social media tells it all. You can see what we've done that day, the weekend. We try to stay on it constantly. And we post our events there. If you want to purchase a ticket to any of our events, that's on our website under events. But for the most part, our social media and our website tells it all.
Okay, cool. All right. And I guess one question I really have for you, right? I know I didn't ask you this before, but what do you, when everything is said and done, right? What do you want your legacy to be known as with Melanated Wine?
It's so much that we, not just me, we are sacrificing right now, just doing Melanated Wine. I have 2 young girls at home. I have married, all this stuff, friends, sister, like all that. And a lot has been sacrificed to make sure that we are providing an amazing experience to our community. That I don't want to go in vain. If I am known for anything, it is definitely being resilient in an industry that many people don't look like us or look like me or whatever. So it's really, I guess, trailblazer, right? But just knowing that I'm just like, we're all just regular people, right? But it's really just that grit. And I feel like a lot of that is missing nowadays. But we have to just keep going regardless of how hard or what it looks like or what other people think or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter what other people think as far as if they think it's great or if they think it's horrible. I want people to just know that I went in as fearless, and fearful as I possibly, can in an industry that wasn't just, handing out opportunities. And I did it for us. I did it for our culture at the end of the day. I truly did it so that we can identify and say, oh, she did this. I'm going to take that idea, add 10, take it to the next level, because that's what we're all standing on the shoulders of each other. We see an idea and we can create something from it and make it better. I may be the first woman-owned, black-owned, urban winery in Durham, but hopefully, it's just the first, but not the only for long. You get what I'm saying? Hopefully some more people come into this industry and say, I can do it too. If she did it, I can do it.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you, plugging in everything about the science of wine and also sharing everything about Melanated Wine, how it started, and getting all together. Everyone, please make sure that you plug in with Melanated Wine, all the amazing events. Get you some good wine, good wine tasting as well. This is another episode of the STEM Plug podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe and keep plugging in.